Have you ever wondered how delivering pizzas every night could actually be holding back your dream of building something bigger? Today, I'm going to share the story of how one ordinary delivery boy transformed his struggle into a million-dollar restaurant empire. In this video, we'll first explore what challenges a delivery boy really faces, then dive into how persistence and smart decisions open doors, and finally, I'll reveal the key mindset shift that turned his dream into reality. Remember, every delivery, every rejection, every late-night ride was not a waste. It was training for success. Before we dive in, understand this. Small, consistent efforts, even if they look ordinary, are the foundation of extraordinary success. And your first step should be to never underestimate your current journey. And at the end of this video, I'll share the one secret mindset that separates those who quit from those who build empires, so stay tuned till the very end. Introduction. He was just another face in the crowd, an ordinary young man with extraordinary dreams. Growing up in a small neighborhood, he didn't have much. His family lived paycheck to paycheck, sometimes struggling to even put food on the table. Every evening, while his friends dreamed of vacations and expensive cars, he was racing through traffic on a motorbike, delivering pizzas just to make ends meet. The weight of bills, the pressure of survival, and the constant question, "Is this all my life will ever be?" followed him everywhere. But here's the powerful truth. Sometimes, life's hardest roads prepare us for the greatest destinations. This video isn't just about a delivery boy. It's about the inner fire that refuses to die, even when the world tells you to settle for less. It's about grit, faith, and the kind of mindset shift that turns an everyday struggle into a multi-million-dollar success story. We'll explore how this young man transformed his challenges into opportunities, how he turned his small delivery job into the foundation of a thriving restaurant empire, and most importantly, the mindset that fueled his unstoppable journey. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever wondered whether your current struggles are leading anywhere, stay with me. Because by the end of this story, you'll see how one man's persistence not only changed his life, but can inspire you to rewrite your own. Struggles and challenges. Life as a pizza delivery boy was far from glamorous. While most people saw it as just a side job for students, for him, it was survival. Every morning began with the same routine, fixing his worn-out motorbike with the little money he had, hoping it wouldn't break down during deliveries. The heat of summer, the freezing nights of winter, and the endless honking of traffic were part of his daily battlefield. But the real struggle wasn't just outside, it was inside. He often questioned himself. Am I destined to deliver pizzas forever? Is this really all I'm capable of? That self-doubt weighed heavily on his shoulders. Each delivery was not just a physical effort, but an emotional fight against feelings of inadequacy. Financial hardships were crushing. Some nights he skipped his own dinner so he could save enough to pay the electricity bill. The embarrassment of returning home with almost nothing made him avoid conversations with relatives. Society's judgment whispered cruelly in his ears. He's just a delivery boy. Friends he grew up with had moved on to better jobs, and some even laughed at his struggles. There were days when customers didn't tip, or worse, insulted him for late deliveries, never realizing he had just risked his safety rushing through dangerous traffic to bring them hot food. And yet, in the middle of all these struggles, there was one thing he couldn't let go of: hope. Late at night, after finishing deliveries, he would sit quietly outside his small rented room, looking at the lights of fancy restaurants in the distance. A voice inside him whispered, "If they can build it, why can't I?" But the gap between dreams and reality seemed impossible to cross. With no business education, no financial backing, and no network of powerful friends, he felt trapped in a cycle he couldn't break. Faith was his only anchor. When everything else felt uncertain, He prayed for strength, believing that his struggles weren't pointless, that one day they would shape him into the person he was meant to become. This was the season of grinding, of sweat and tears, of nights spent wondering whether tomorrow would be any different. And yet, in hindsight, these struggles became the foundation of his resilience, discipline, and hunger for something greater. Turning point, the mindset shift. Every story of transformation has a moment, a spark, that shifts everything. For him, that moment came one late evening after a particularly grueling day of deliveries. His motorbike had broken down twice. He had been yelled at by impatient customers, and to top it off, he had barely earned enough to cover fuel costs. Exhausted and frustrated, he sat on the curb outside a bustling restaurant, watching families enjoy expensive meals inside. Something hit him hard that night. He realized he wasn't just delivering pizzas, he was delivering someone else's dream. Every pizza box he carried represented a successful business built by someone who once started small. And suddenly, a thought flashed across his mind. If I can run around the city for hours making someone else's business thrive, why can't I build my own? That thought was more than just motivation. It was a mindset shift. He stopped seeing himself as just a delivery boy and began seeing himself as an entrepreneur in training. Every interaction with a customer became a lesson in customer service. Every late-night ride became a test of resilience. Every tip, or lack of it, taught him about value, gratitude, and business psychology. But it wasn't just external lessons that mattered. Internally, he made a powerful decision. He would no longer let circumstances define his future. He started reading books and watching free business tutorials online after his shifts, often staying up until sunrise. He kept a small notebook in his pocket, jotting down ideas for how a pizza shop could be run better, faster, and smarter. Faith played a major role in this shift. He believed that God had placed him in this struggle not to punish him, but to prepare him. Instead of praying for an easier life, he began praying for strength, wisdom, and clarity. That spiritual shift gave him peace, even on the hardest days. The turning point wasn't about money or opportunities. It was about perspective. He realized that success doesn't start with resources. It starts with resourcefulness. Once that mindset clicked, everything changed. He no longer saw his job as a dead end. It became his classroom, his training ground, his university of real-world business lessons. And that shift, more than anything else, became the foundation of his empire. Because the truth is, the way you see yourself determines how far you can go. He had finally chosen to see himself not as a worker trapped in struggle, but as a builder destined for greatness. First, wins and small successes change never happens overnight, but the smallest victories often become the loudest signals that you're moving in the right direction. For him, those first wins were humble, but they carried the power to shift his entire destiny. After his mindset transformation, he started treating every delivery differently. Instead of rushing in and out, he greeted customers warmly, remembered their preferences, and built small connections. Soon, people began to notice the difference. Regular customers would request him specifically to deliver their orders. That small recognition boosted his confidence. One day, while delivering pizzas to a corporate office, he overheard a conversation about catering services. With courage he never thought he had, he introduced himself and asked if he could handle a small catering order. At first, the office manager laughed. After all, he was just a delivery boy. But his persistence worked. A week later, they gave him a chance to manage snacks for a small meeting. That first order wasn't perfect, but it was the beginning. He used the tiny profit to buy better equipment and reinvested every penny instead of spending it. Slowly, his focus shifted from earning tips to creating opportunities. At the same time, he started experimenting with recipes in his small rented room. With no professional kitchen, he improvised, borrowing pans, buying secondhand utensils, and testing new pizza flavors. He would invite a few close friends to taste them, and their honest feedback became his free market research. Then came his first real breakthrough. He rented a small stall outside a busy bus stop, selling his own homemade pizzas in the evenings after his delivery shift. It wasn't fancy, but people loved the taste. Word of mouth spread quickly. Commuters would stop by daily, sometimes even skipping the big restaurant nearby just to grab a slice from his stall. The money was still small, but the feeling was priceless. For the first time, he wasn't just delivering someone else's dream. He was serving his own creation. That first stall taught him more about business than any book ever could. Customer service, pricing, inventory, and most importantly, resilience. Each little success became a stepping stone. Every satisfied customer felt like a victory medal. Every returning buyer gave him hope. And with every passing week, his vision became clearer. This wasn't just survival anymore. This was the beginning of something bigger. Scaling to millionaire status. Every great journey has a moment when small sparks ignite into a blazing fire. For him, that moment came when his tiny pizza stall started drawing more people than the fancy restaurant across the street. Customers weren't just buying food. They were buying into his story, his energy, and his relentless pursuit of quality. With the little profits he saved, he took a daring step, renting a small shop on the corner of a busy street. The rent was high, the risks were enormous, but the dream inside him was louder than fear. He painted the walls himself, designed the logo with a friend, and even learned basic marketing through online tutorials. When his first official pizza shop opened, it wasn't just a store. It was the physical proof that persistence can rewrite destiny. But success doesn't come smoothly. The first few months were brutal. Bills piled up faster than sales. Competitors tried to shut him down. He had nights where he wondered if he had made the biggest mistake of his life. Yet every time failure knocked, he answered with resilience. He cut unnecessary costs, worked 16-hour days, and focused on what mattered most: delivering quality food and unforgettable customer service. Soon, social media became his best friend. He started posting pictures of his unique pizza flavors, sometimes recording himself making them in funny, relatable ways. The posts went viral locally. College students, office workers, and even families started visiting his shop just to try the delivery boy's pizza. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Within 2 years, his one shop grew into 3. He reinvested profits instead of chasing luxury. While others bought cars, he bought ovens. While others spent on vacations, he expanded menus and trained staff. That discipline became his secret weapon. Investors began to notice. At first, he was skeptical. Why would anyone invest in a guy who once struggled to pay fuel bills? But his numbers spoke louder than doubt. His shops were consistently profitable, and his brand had become a community favorite. Eventually, he struck his first partnership deal, giving him enough capital to expand into multiple cities. Growth came with challenges: managing employees, ensuring quality across outlets, and handling criticism. But he embraced these challenges as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. He introduced systems, standard recipes, staff training programs, and strict quality checks. Slowly, his small local chain began resembling a professional brand. Within a decade, the boy who once knocked on doors with a pizza box in hand had become the proud owner of a multi-million-dollar restaurant empire. His outlets stretched across the country, serving thousands of customers daily. He had gone from counting crumpled bills at night to signing business deals worth millions. And yet, he never forgot his roots. To this day, he tells his employees, "I was once where you are. What matters isn't where you start, it's how much you're willing to grow." His empire wasn't just built on pizza, It was built on persistence, discipline, faith, and the refusal to give up when life screamed at him to quit. The boy who once delivered pizzas for survival was now delivering inspiration for millions. Key lessons and takeaways. Behind every success story lies a blueprint, a set of lessons that can inspire and guide anyone willing to listen. His journey from pizza delivery boy to CEO wasn't just about food, money, or business. It was about mindset, faith, and the relentless pursuit of growth. Here are the lessons that shaped his empire and can shape your future too. 1. Mindset is more powerful than circumstances. When he was struggling, his circumstances screamed failure. But the day he shifted his mindset from victim to visionary, everything began to change. The truth is, life doesn't give you opportunities until you create them. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, it will never come. Success starts when you decide to see challenges as training rather than punishment. 2. Small, consistent steps create extraordinary results. He didn't jump from delivery boy to millionaire overnight. He took one step at a time, learning, experimenting, failing, and improving. Success is never one giant leap. It's a staircase of tiny, consistent actions. Whether it was greeting customers warmly or saving every penny to reinvest, consistency turned his small efforts into unstoppable momentum. 3. Resilience is built in struggle, not comfort. There were countless nights he felt like giving up, but the struggles carved out the strength he needed for bigger battles ahead. Every rejection, every insult, every breakdown became a lesson. Remember this: the strength you need for tomorrow is being built in the hardships you face today. 4. Faith and gratitude fuel perseverance. While he sharpened his business skills, he never let go of his faith. Instead of asking, "Why me?" he started asking, "What can I learn from this?" Gratitude turned his pain into power, and his belief in God gave him the patience to trust the process even when results seemed far away. 5. Discipline beats talent. Many people are talented, but very few are disciplined. He wasn't the most educated nor the smartest in business, but he was disciplined. He sacrificed leisure for learning, luxury for reinvestment, and shortcuts for consistency. And discipline became the invisible engine that drove his empire forward. 6. Success is about service, not just profit. At the core of his growth was one simple principle: serve people well. He treated every customer with respect, every employee with dignity, and every opportunity with humility. Profit followed naturally because people felt valued. True success is not about how much you take, but how much you give. These lessons are not just business principles, they are life principles. You don't need to be in the food industry to apply them. Whether you're a student, an employee, or a struggling entrepreneur, the same rules apply. Shift your mindset, take consistent action, stay resilient, anchor yourself in faith, live with discipline, and focus on serving others. If a delivery boy on a rusty motorbike could transform his life into a multi-million-dollar empire, imagine what you could do with the opportunities and tools you have today. Everything changed when he realized that his biggest weakness could actually become his greatest strength. Instead of running away from struggles, he decided to face them head-on. He invested his nights in learning, his mornings in practicing, and every single day in building a mindset that winners are made of. Slowly but surely, doors that once seemed locked started opening, and the world began to notice his unstoppable rise. This is where the legend truly began, because legends are not born, legends are made here. Every legend you admire today once stood where you are standing right now, confused, struggling, and almost ready to give up. But they chose to rise. This is not just his story, it can be your story too. If he can transform his struggles into a legendary success, so can you. Don't let this moment pass. Hit subscribe to Legend Made here. Share this story with someone who needs hope, and remember, your turning point might be just one decision away.